This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Man dies after car plunges into Catherine Hall yard. Residents of Catherine Hall in St. James were given a major fright in the wee hours of Saturday morning when a car overturned in a yard, killing the driver of the vehicle. The deceased has been identified as a 37-year-old Donald Sutherland, a sound system selector of a Campbell Hill address in Tucker, St. James. Reports reaching the news are that about 12:20 p.m., Sutherland was driving a Toyota Axio motor car towards West Green when he failed to navigate a roundabout and ended up in the yard. He was thrown from the vehicle, where he received injuries to his head and other sections of his body. He was later pronounced dead at hospital. 2 other male occupants of the vehicle were admitted to hospital for treatment. It is reported that no major damage was done to the house. According to one of the residents, they were alerted to the accident because of the noise. "We were inside the house when we heard the noise, and when we looked, the car was on the top and the guy outside on the ground," the woman remarked, explaining that initially they didn't realize how serious the accident was. She explained that the area in particular is prone to crashes. Family members and their friends who later gathered on the scene said Sutherland was on his way home after playing at a party. Man killed in Linstead as the shootings continues across the island. A man was gunned down in Linstead, St. Catherine, among several shooting incidents across the island on Thursday. The deceased has been identified as Ralston Riley, otherwise called the Brady of Linstead. Reports from the Linstead police are that about 1 a.m., residents reported hearing loud explosions. Riley's body was discovered hours later along the Linstead bypass with gunshot wounds. The police were summoned and Riley was taken to hospital, where he was pronounced dead. It was among several shooting incidents across the island on Thursday. 2 persons were shot in a business establishment in Discovery Bay about 1:20 p.m. The victims survived the incident and were hospitalized. Later, about 4 p.m., there was a running gun battle between a police officer and the criminals on the compound of the Kingston Public Hospital. It is reported that about 4 p.m., a group of armed men attempted to attack another when a lone police officer got wind of what was transpiring and intervened. A shootout subsequently ensued, starting on the hospital compound before spilling out onto the streets of downtown Kingston. St. Anne Councillor pleads for residents in areas hit by ban on events. Councillor Geneva Gordon-Bailey of the Jamaica Labour Party Limehall Division, who has expressed concerns about the economic effects on law-abiding citizens not allowed to host the entertainment fundraisers because of lawbreakers, has appealed to the police to take another look at a recent decision not to allow events in crime-plagued communities in St. Anne. The affected areas are Stairtown, Limehall, and Mammy Bay. Most times I support the police in their decisions in the division, and I know risk assessment is their job, and they would know how best to do this. But I don't think it should be a case where they say nothing at all can't keep, Gordon-Bailey told the news. The situation is not unique to St. Anne. A similar decision has been made to halt events across several sections of the country, and Gordon-Bailey is just the latest politician to take issue with the approach being taken by the police. The concern in most cases is that the measures will create a financial burden for those who rely on events to feed their families. They could give the people like a designated area for the events to be held within the communities, and with the help of the police we monitor the areas, Gordon-Bailey suggested. Most of the residents in the division, she said, make a living from hosting small events and street dances. Family intensifies the search for Mobay woman swept away by floodwaters. The family of the St. James woman swept away by floodwaters on Tuesday has intensified their search for her. Early this morning, her 2 sons, Gregory Walters and Carl Poyser, dug through debris along the bank of the Montego Bay River in St. James before help came. Both men live overseas. State entities have been searching since Tuesday when the body of 12-year-old Janelle Walters, the granddaughter of the missing woman, 68-year-old Beryl Walters, was found. The woman's husband, Barris, and their daughter Shannon were rescued by residents. The four were traveling in a Toyota Succeed motor car when they pulled off the road because of rising waters in Westgate. While there, the situation worsened with the water moving the vehicle towards the Montego Bay River. The family got out of the car and were swept away as well as the car. Gregory Walters told reporters today that the incident has been traumatic for some family members. He said amid prayer, some have been seeking professional help. But Gregory said the family wants a greater support from the authorities such as divers. We just think we need some more help and nobody is giving us any information, he said. Acting Mayor of Montego Bay, Richard Vernon, said the authorities are doing the best they can. He also said he has instructed the disaster coordinator to reach out to Marine Park to get divers. The acting mayor has also reached out to the National Environment and Planning Agency for permission to do desilting of the river if the divers are unable to locate the missing woman. Criminal probe launched into Portland ATM explosion, man found injured. The police have launched a criminal probe into the early morning explosion at the Scotiabank automated teller machine on Harbor Street in Port Antonio, Portland. In the meantime, one man has been hospitalized after he was found with cuts, burns, and a broken leg and other injuries in an incinerator at the rear of the bank. The explosion, which happened around 4 o'clock, damaged the ATM and the entrance to the banking hall. Shattered glass was found up to 60 feet away. Commanding officer for the Portland Police Division, Superintendent Kenneth Chin, told the news that a high-level probe is being conducted by several entities. A glass window at the rear of the bank was also shattered and the emergency exit door partially ajar. The cause of the explosion is not yet ascertained. However, criminal activity is suspected and we are following strong leads and will make a breakthrough in short order, he said. Initial estimated loss is in excess of $12 million. Senior Deputy Superintendent at the Jamaica Fire Brigade, Emilio Ebanks, said his colleagues arrived at the location this morning. Fire was seen coming from the building. We got into operation and after about 5 minutes, the fire was brought under control and later extinguished. He said the damage was restricted to the ATMs, the machine room, a bathroom, 2 offices, some office equipment, and AC units. We, at the present time, have investigators on the scene trying to ascertain the cause of the fire, he said. Normal operations at the bank will be affected by the incident. NWA to minimize impact of retirement road and halfway tree construction. The National Works Agency, NWA, is seeking to assure business interest in the Crossroads area that measures will be in place to minimize the impact of the 3-month road closure at the Retirement Road and Halfway Tree Road intersection. The closure is to facilitate major work aimed at drainage improvement. The area is usually very busy, and there is concern the work will lead to massive traffic gridlocks during the period. The NWA's Communication and Customer Services Manager, Stephen Shaw, acknowledges that there will be delays, but says the expectation is that only a limited area will be impacted. We are not going to be closing Retirement Road beyond its intersection with Halfway Tree Road. All the businesses that are along Retirement Road will remain accessible. We will also allow pedestrian access through what will be a construction zone. Meanwhile, he also sought to defend the timing of the project. Questions have been raised about why the work is not being done at the end of the school term in a few weeks. But he said that it was a strategic economic decision. We really have very little control over when we receive funds, and even having received the funds, we have to undertake a fairly rigorous procurement to get to the stage of a contract. We could have suspended the work until summer, but then the funds could have been used for some other thing. We could encounter flooding in the space and we need to mitigate the incidents of flooding, he said. Jamaica reports 48 new COVID cases, 2 deaths. Jamaica on Friday reported 48 new cases of COVID-19, bringing the total number of confirmed cases reported on the island to 129,489. The country also reported 2 more virus-related deaths, bringing the death toll since the start of the pandemic to 2,943. Of the newly reported cases, there were 34 females and 14 males with ages ranging from 1 day to 108 years. The cases were recorded as follows: Clarendon 1, Hanover 1, Kingston and St. Andrew 10, St. Anne 9, St. Catherine 8, St. James 13, Westmoreland 1, St. Mary 2, and Trelawney 3. Meanwhile, the latest victims are an 84-year-old male from St. James who died in April 2021, a 94-year-old female from Westmoreland who died in July 2021. The country also recorded 90 new recoveries, bringing the total number of recoveries to 82,965. The positivity rate was 4.3% in the latest round of testing. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.